there's the energy that's coming up here. It almost feels like I want to do something, but you're not sure what it is that you want to do. You want change, you want growth, you want more, right? But and to do with what? And that's what this week feels like, that you're trying to figure out. What is it that you want to increase, grow? We have the Two of Pentacles. So for some of you, you're taking on a lot, but it's a Two of Pentacles, right? So it's very minor energy. And I don't mean that. And, it can be very frustrating if you're the one that's having to juggle two things here. But it's about weighing up the pros and cons, trying to figure out which one works for me. Sometimes to do that, we take on two jobs, or we take on two things, two people, whatever, to try to figure out which one is the right fit for us. However, focusing solely on the two things, focusing on the practical details of the thing, that's not going to give you all the answers. And the moon very much as your advice says that too. Two of Pentacles says you need to put one of those down, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. And I kind of think that's because there are so many options right now. You can really go in any direction. And yeah, this is totally kind of channeled coming through. But it's the Ten of Swords. And I'll explain when I get to that. It kind of feels like you're limiting yourself. You're limiting yourself just to two options when there are more options available. I'm almost getting like a Four of Cups kind of feel about this, where, you're limiting yourself to a certain number of options, but there are more available. Just because you can see the two doesn't mean there's not more there. Now, the reason I think there's more is because we have the Ten of Swords coming up at the heart of the reading. This is rock bottom, right? And this is going to play out differently for each of you. It's a general reading. So remember that. And it goes the energies can go both ways. So if someone's central to your story right now, this may be helping you to understand what's going on there with that situation. But it's your message, whoever's watching this. So the Ten of Swords coming up here, that's rock bottom. This is the aftermath. We're dealing with what happened. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant. I always feel like this is the scene of the crime, right? Going back to the scene of the crime. And what I always say is, it's overkill. 10 swords are not needed to take a person down. One sword's enough. So that's nasty. That is pretty nasty, whatever took place here. However, swords are our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, and how we communicate them. So this can be harsh words that were said. This can be nasty, like something really nasty that took place. That's for sure. That happened. But this can also be nightmares about what happened, where we're kind of replaying it in our heads, going over it again. And I know that's kind of Nine of Swords energy, but with the Ten of Swords, it's already happened. Nine of Swords, we're worried it's going to happen, or we're in the middle of it happening. But the Ten of Swords, it's happened. The writing's on the wall. We know who to trust. We know who not to trust. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. So it's time to go again. But how do we do that? By removing all the crap that happened here, taking one of the swords. That's how the cycle starts again with the Ace of Swords, right? And going forward from then. Now, if you've got nothing left, if you're at rock bottom, then what's the saying? The only way is up. But what are you going to choose? That's why I think it serves you to take a moment and to look at all your options, to kind of go really big. You don't have to limit yourself. And I know that sounds strange, because when we have the Two of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords, we can almost feel like, I was left kind of decimated here on the ground, nothing. So let me just go with the smallest, tiniest, like the first step that I can take. But I'm not getting the Knight of Pentacles for you. That's baby steps. I'm getting the Empress for you, but we'll get to her in a moment. Now, you've got the Hermit coming up as a past energy. So this is last week, last month, last year, whatever, right? But what it talks about is coming out. I feel like you're coming out of a time of being the Hermit, of going within, of looking at what suits you, what fits for you. And that's what makes this even bigger. It's now the bigger picture. Whatever you figured out about yourself, whether you spent time alone, whether, you dealt with someone who retreated, because I do feel the Hermit mode when the Hermit comes up. It's not about being alone. We can go into Hermit mode when we are alone, right? When we are in a room full of people, we can almost feel alone sometimes. That's what I'm trying to say. So we take a step back and go within. But the point is what's going on within you. That's where the first answer came from, what you want. So do you even want any of these? Is this kind of tied to what you went through here with the Hermit? That's crucial to remember. And I know the Ten of Swords, it's a shitty card, right? It is. There's no way to sugarcoat this crap. It's crappy and it happened. But it's how we progress from here. That's the point of this. How do we progress from here? I see the Hermit as healing has taken place within you. But now it's about playing that out in the outside world. And the Empress, the Chariot, You know, these cards all talk about expansion, going out into the world now. And yeah, we have the Empress. She's about abundance. She's about growth. We're growing something. Now, she knows it takes time. And you know, there's almost like an implication of the Death card with the Empress. And I know a lot of people don't see that, but I do. Because we always see the wheat around her. And in this deck, she's pregnant. Now, to grow a baby, to grow crops, whatever it is you're trying to grow, it takes time. And she understands that. She understands the cycles of life and death, which is you guys. You know, that's death energy. But with the Empress coming up here, it's almost... This is not growing something. This is settling for one of two things. There's more available here in the present. And that's what the Empress is showing you. Now, the Empress, she is a master manifester. She's very attractive. And I don't mean attractive as in beautiful. You know, you might think she is beautiful, but it's about attracting what you want to yourself, attracting the answers that you want, whatever it is that you're looking for. And there's very much an energy of like go big or go home. That's the kind of energy that's coming up here. So there's every potential to grow something new. The Empress is about new beginnings, but they come from you. Whatever the answers are, whatever you want to grow here, you already know the answer from your hermit time. Where does that go? If you decide to go with this, nurture this, grow this, and, you know, think about it. She's trying to grow a baby. That means she has to take care of herself. She has to eat the right things. You know, when a person's pregnant, that's what they take care of themselves to grow the baby. It's a healthy baby. Once the baby is born, the work's not over, right? Then we have to nurture and care for what it is that we've given birth to. So that can apply to projects. That can apply to relationships. I mean, she refers to abundance of all kinds. Anything that you want is possible when the Emperor shows up, but it comes from you. Once you get this idea or whatever it is that you're trying to grow or this abundance that you're trying to bring in, what happens then when we have the Chariot? No more kind of dilly-dallying around here with the swords that happen. And this is, I'm off. I'm done. I'm not going to hang around the scene of the crime. I'm not going to dwell on this anymore. Yeah, that happened. But think about it. You've learned the lessons from this. Whatever this was, if this was a betrayal, if this was deception, if this was, you know, sometimes it can be the loss of something. And with the Chariot coming up here, this is, I'm off. I have a new destination. I know where I'm going. But the seed is planted here in this week. Whatever it is that you're trying to grow, it happens here. And it takes you to victory. But you balance your head and your heart. And the energy picks up. Whenever the Chariot shows up, the energy picks up. And it can be a little overwhelming. You know, if you were in that chariot, which you are, you're the charioteer, and it was kind of speeding down the road, it can be overwhelming. You know, there's so much to do. Make sure it's going in the right direction. Make sure the horses are going in the same direction. So this is balancing your head and your heart. Now, I'm kind of getting that from these two. I kind of feel like this was the head work that was done. This is the kind of heart work that's done here. She's the mother figure, right? She's that kind of nurturing, caring element of the tarot. But, you know, we have, I'm going to say it again, guys. Whatever you're trying to balance here as you come into this week or trying to figure out, it seems too small. I mean, this is balance too, balancing head and heart, but it's bigger. It's a major arcana energy. We're off. We're ready to go. Now, what's your advice? How do you get to this? How do you understand what it is or which direction to go in or what to do with whatever it is you're trying to give birth to? The moon. The moon is coming up here. And this is your intuition. This is trusting your gut feeling. Now, I want you to imagine this. If you were in that chariot and the road ahead of you, it's the moon's out, you know, it's nighttime and there's a full moon, yes. But what do you do with that? You know, there's shadows up ahead. Are you going to stop your chariot or are you going to just speed through it? Are you going to let the shadows frighten you? Because we never know what's in the shadows until we go and explore it. That's why I always feel the moon is saying to us, can you walk this path in faith? Whatever happened here with the hermit, because that's sat above the moon, this has strengthened you. This has fortified you. You have some answer that you've come up with. Now, the moon's saying, can you trust that? I'd say, yeah, because the moon does say, trust your intuition. You're either going to get put off by what's going on around you, which I wouldn't advise, because you have answers here with these two. These have taught you some serious lessons with these two coming up. So the moon, right? And the thing what's in the shadows, we don't know. You know, that's our fears that tell us that. And the fear's trying to keep us safe. But we're not actually in any danger. You know, we might think, imagine if you were on the pathway, there's someone waiting to mug me, there's a ditch there, there's a wild animal ready to attack me, but we won't know until we go up to it. The moon asks you to look at your fears and doubts and then to go anyway, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's kind of what's coming up here. And I get it. If this happened to you, no one wants this to happen again, right? No one does. But have a look. We start off with minor arcana energy. But it kind of takes off big time with this major arcana energy coming in. Now, what is major arcana energy? What's the difference? I know that some people don't realize the difference. I always think we have free will anyway, no matter what happens to us. But major arcana energy, it's stuff to do with our life path. It's the bigger kind of archetypes of our life. Whereas minor arcana is it's the day to day. I mean, the Two of Pentacles is that anyway. Making practical decisions to get through this day and that day. And yeah, I'm a big believer in that now, the present is the point of power. But whatever we're doing now, it's taking us in a certain direction, our life in a certain direction, right? And it kind of feels this week, you figure out where you want to take this, whatever you're trying to grow in your life. But don't limit yourself. That's what I'm going to say again. Don't limit yourself to just those options. There are more options available. And you know what? If you tell the Empress there's only 2 options available, she's like, screw it. I'll give birth to a 3rd option, a 4th option, a 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever I want, I can give birth to it. So it's very kind of empowering energy. And the Hermit is actually one of the big cards of self-empowerment, because you understand that I have the power to change this situation. I have the power to, whatever I've learned. And I do think this is one hell of a lesson to learn, right? That I know where to take this.